And we are live with another episode of the Authentic Brandcast. Today, our topic is OMG, I'm launching. It can be glorifying or terrifying. We will find out depending on where we are at in our journey. My guest today is Ken Westgard. Hi, Ken. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you.
Super excited to have you here today. Ken is on a mission to lead a movement, the rise of the six-figure launcher, of coaches and course creators who are still working 9 to 5 to become a six-figure launcher that they've always dreamed of. Yes, this is what we want. Can you introduce yourself and tell us like who you are and on top of that, what you do and how you help?
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, my name is Ken Westgard, and I'm a multi-passionate manifesting generator for those who are into human design. I live in Norway with my wife. I got 2 kids, and now we have 3 cats. But besides from that, I help coaches and course creators that feel stuck in their 9 to 5 to go from being the exhausted launcher, meaning that they're tired of the exhaustion, the overwhelm, and launching to crickets every time they put themselves out there to step into the role of the six-figure launcher, meaning that they feel aligned with the launches, they know what to say, they know what to do, and they continue to have those successful launches. And I do that by using my launching by choice formula, which consists of messaging, offer plan, and self-care. So yeah.
Awesome. And the last point, self-care is, I think, is something that we, when we are in launch mode, very much put aside because I have been there myself. And,
Hmm.
sometimes it sounds in the beginning, it sounds so fabulous. Like instead of working just one-on-one, you can just scale your business, put an offer out, and within 2 weeks, you have the revenue of the whole year. Yay! But this is not really how it works for most of us.
Exactly.
Can you share like what is your story? Like how did you come up with helping coaches and course creators to launch aligned? So was there an
Yeah.
aha moment where you said, you know what, this is, there's so many people struggling with it, this is what I want to do? Or like what did you bring you down this path?
Well, it was actually a comment from someone. Before worked on launching, I worked with email marketing specifically, and I tried to open a membership for that. And one of the members, the founding members that I had in that membership, she said that it feels like your heart is not into this. And at first, I was like, "Oh my God, why would you say that? That's really hurtful." And I you basically want to sit and cry for yourself and for a little while. But I gathered myself after that and just thought, okay, well, let's think about this. What she said doesn't mean anything about me or anything like that, but what I need to take a look at, the things that I'm doing and see how I can change it or make it better. So that led me down the path of actually start working with launching, because I sat down, write a basically a pro con list of the things I like to do and the things I don't like to do. And it turns out that I had been helping my clients with actually launching through email marketing. So I realized quickly that that's actually kind of what I want to do. And so that was kind of like the beginning of the whole launching journey. And from there, I wanted to start a podcast, which I've been delaying for probably 6 months or so, and finally launched that. And from there, it's kind of been just a ball that's kept on like a snowball effect. It gets bigger and bigger, and you just want to dive more and more into it. But it's definitely been a journey, and it's definitely not something that you kind of know how everything is going to be or how everything is going to look when you first start out thinking about this. But it just kind of evolves, and just let it. If you just let everything kind of flow through you, it will work out in the end, I guess.
Hmm. Totally. Like you mentioned, aligned in our conversation earlier, you mentioned aligned and or energetically aligned launching. So
Hmm.
is there like, are there different types of launches? And so I know from myself, you have all the checklists and everything. And I mean, you should have the processes and there shouldn't be any hiccups on the way because you have it all, you have the templates and everything. But still, like you end up, at least I ended up doing like things on the fly short before that. And so are there different types? Like how can we feel aligned with something? And what does this energetically mean?
Well, what you said there is kind of typical, I think, for most people who do launches that, things don't generally work out the way you plan out. So, but obviously having a plan is a good thing because then you kind of can eliminate most of the disasters that might happen so that you actually can focus on being present in the launch. But I think the most important thing to, be energetically aligned at launch is that you need to make sure that you do the things that you want to do. Because I think the biggest problem I see in the industry of online entrepreneurs is that they look at other people, they look at experts, gurus, mentors, and these people tell you to do it this way, do it that way, and if you don't, then you're not gonna have success and all that. And I mean, in a sense, they're kind of right. Like this is working, this is working, this is working. But the point is that everything is actually working because everybody's telling you that everything is working. But you need to figure out, what is it that you can choose to do instead of saying that I need to do exactly what this person told me to do. Otherwise, I won't have success. But instead, you need to just figure out, okay, is this something that I feel aligned with? Is this something that's going to work for me? Is this something that's going to work for my audience? And all of that. So I think the biggest thing here is to just take a moment and kind of design your own launch. I think just take the bits and pieces that you enjoy and that you like doing and the things that light you up. And if you do that, then you're going to see that you're going to have a lot more easy launches, lighter launches, and launches that you feel aligned with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And I was just thinking this all relates to how we show up energetically, because if we don't feel it, like same with branding and showing up authentically,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically you being aligned with who you are and showing up in a way that you enjoy. And if you can't enjoy it, then how can you share this feeling and how can you attract the right people? I think with launching, it's just the extension of that, just and way more intense because we are in this launch mode usually for a specific time. So have you find a way like to align with your energy? And we both talked about human design earlier, and we both are manifesting generators.
Yeah.
So has this helped you to figure out what energetically aligned means to you and how you can use it for your launch?
I'm sure it will be different for everyone. I mean, we all have different types of personalities inside of the human design. But for me, the one thing that I kind of lean into is number one, it's okay to be you. That's like the biggest thing that I learned from human design. That everything that everyone has told you that is weird or wrong with you or anything like that. That's just complete BS, and it's okay to be you. So just embrace that first of all. But the second thing for me was that I need to listen to my intuition and just kind of follow that, and maybe not always jump on all of the new ideas that I come up with at all the times because if I do, they might not feel that great, the next day or something like that. So I need to actually take a couple of days to just let it sit with it and think about it. And if it still feels great, then go with it. But if not, then just let it go. So yeah, that's been some of the things that has been important to me in terms of just figuring out where I want to go with the whole business, I guess. And that's what I've been doing all the time, just letting, every time the business kind of evolves or pivot or change, I just let it do that because I know if I listen to my intuition, it will tell me if this is the right decision to make or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this intuitive or intuition has been very true for me as well. Like I'm very enthusiastic and I have many ideas, like you just
Hmm.
mentioned as well. And so for me, it's like two things. One, I need the momentum. So I
Yep.
really need this excitement to get going and to get things driving. And but the other thing is, it also needs to be aligned with my goal. And I feel like with the excitement, I often go in a different direction. So what I have learned is, as you said, the intuitive part and listening to my gut, really to ask for a response from my body. Is this a yes or a no? Because sometimes I'm excited,
Hmm.
but it doesn't really mean that I have to go this way in terms of I'm creating a new product or a new launch. Maybe it is something that I need to embody first, find out if it works for me, and then if it works, then do something with it.
Hmm.
So is there are there different types of or personalities of launchers? So you just mentioned, you have an idea and you do something. Are there like different personalities that, is there one person that has the same product all the time and launching it, or are there other possibilities too? Like, do you separate them or categorize them?
Yeah, I actually do, because I've seen, with many of my clients and people I've talked to, is that they kind of fall into some of the categories. Sometimes they fall into several of them, but I've the four most common ones is, you have the exhausted launcher that I call them. And this is the type of person that, they take tons of action, doing all the right things, they're working late nights. But problem is that they might not be focused, they might not be aligned, and then, they're not quite sure how to do it or what to do. And basically they're trying to do everything on their own. So obviously that's going to lead to kind of exhaustion. And then you have someone who I call the launch switcher, which is basically someone who's switching tactics all the time because they
Mhm.
think that nothing is working, but that is because they're actually switching. So they're going from a webinar, try that one time, that doesn't work. Oh, okay, let's try challenge. Well, now that didn't work. Let's try something else. So nothing kind of gets time to get that momentum going and actually prove that, it could actually work. Or maybe then not looking at the numbers. And then obviously, they have self-doubt and everything kind of gets in the way. But I still feel like that's the type of person who has the right intentions, and they come from a place of service, but they're just too eager to dismiss things to kind of move on to the next thing. And then you have, the impulse launcher, which is, and I see this is probably one of the the most common one, I think. They launch, maybe in a couple weeks or maybe less than that, and they really haven't prepared anything. So they have no plan. They just want to launch and they want to do it now, which is good in the sense because they are excited and they have the right energy and then showing up, and they feel probably aligned, and the messaging is getting clearer every time they do this. But it's gonna probably lead to some extent of exhaustion as well because they are not prepared. And then you have where we kind of want to be, the six-figure launcher, where everything is energetically aligned, and the messaging is crystal clear. They have multiple irresistible offers, they have a solid launch plan, and they take care of themselves both, physically and mentally. And they are really good at not seeing failures as failures. They see it as a lesson, so they learn something from every launch that they do. So these are probably the most common types of personalities that I see when it comes to launching.
Hmm. I identified, I don't know, maybe with all three.
Maybe.
Is that a problem, Ken?
Absolutely not. No.
So, like, how do you help course creators and coaches to find the right way for them to launch? Like, do you have a specific method that you guide them through, or how do you help them?
Yeah, I do. Like I mentioned in the beginning, that I do have the launching by choice formula, which is I want you to kind of design your own launch and take the things that you feel, that is the right fit for you. Because, like I mentioned, you don't want to go ahead and do a webinar if that is something that you feel like sick to the stomach of doing. I mean, there's a difference obviously between, fear and, not just wanted to do it, because we need to push ourselves out of the comfort zone sometimes, obviously. But it's about just taking the things that you feel like needing. And obviously it's with the four things I mentioned is, messaging, offer, solid launch plan, and self care. Every those are connected in a way. So I think messaging in particular is probably one of the most important things because that serves as a foundation for everything that you do. I mean, if you nail your messaging in your business, then you will nail it in the launch. You will nail it in your social media. Everything that you put out there is going to resonate with your audience, and they're going to connect with you. But uh, one thing to take a note of is, messaging is not something that you will nail straight away. It will take time, and you need to let it take time, and you need to let it change and evolve and just continuously work on it because it's not going to be perfect, I don't think, ever. But you need to start somewhere, and you just need to let it kind of evolve, like I said, over time. And then, like I said, the offer as well. Problem I see a lot is that people might be, hesitant about it and putting it out there. They're overthinking it, and they may not feel like, who am I to be teaching this? And that becomes a problem, obviously, because then they're getting in their own way, and they might not be showing up in the way they want to. So, however, if they manage to work out the messaging, they will be able to figure out what the offer should be and how you can make it irresistible. And when they do that, they feel a lot more competent and they feel more certain, and you will show up in a totally different way once you have, a clearer message and irresistible offer, obviously. And then, like I said, you need to have a solid launch plan as well, because if you don't have that, well, then you're going to have, or you're going to feel like everything is chaos, and you're obviously going to be stressed out, and you probably feel a little bit scattered because, things are just kind of flying around. However, if you do manage to spend some time, create the plan, then obviously you will feel like you have more control, you will feel more relaxed, and you obviously be a lot more focused. And then, like I said, self care is really important. And I don't think that is something people talk about when it comes to launching at all, because we need to actually take care of ourselves. And it's really simple things like, not staying up to 2 a.m. to work on the webinar slide decks or the emails, but just, make sure you get enough sleep, make sure you eat a little bit more healthy, not go for the junk food because that's really easy when you're in a launch, obviously. Get out, move a little bit, get some exercise. Don't have to run a marathon or anything like that, but just taking basic needs taken care of, because then instead of feeling constantly drained and discouraged and not really getting things done, you will feel energized, you feel inspired and passionate about everything. And all of these things are connected through energy of how you show up in a launch, because if you can figure out all these four steps, then obviously you're going to show up in a whole different way than versus if you don't have this figured out. And I think energy is kind of like an invisible language that we're speaking, but not really aware of it. But your audience will definitely pick up on it. So they will. I mean, if you're showing up with a low energy, they're gonna pick up on that and they're gonna back off. And it's like, this is not for me. That you're not gonna buy. But however, if you are on the other aspect of that, where you are, really energized and you are excited about it, everything that you have to share, then obviously they're gonna be sucked into it and they want to buy from you. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. I can relate with everything. Something else that I think is really helpful when launching or when we decide, okay, this is a path that I want to go, is really finding a community where we can share experiences and really learn from each other's lessons, not failures,
No
lessons.
fellas, yes.
And because that's when we learn the most, right?
Absolutely. No, but it's a
um,
important distinction though, that you call it lessons instead of failures, because there's always something that we can learn from our failures. So we just need to kind of figure that out. I actually I've been getting really good at looking at looking at the lessons, but um, we need to change for winter tires because winter's coming here, and for some reason I need to fill up some air into the tire, and I managed to break off the valve that you put the air into, and I've never experienced that before. So basically, I stood there with a flat tire and it's like, what is the lesson here? I really can't see it. But then a couple of days later, when I got to the dealership and say, I need to fix my tire, he told me that, oh, yeah, I seen this before because the valve is made of aluminum and they break a lot more easily than the normal ones that made it kind of out of rubber and metal. It's like, oh, so that was the lesson. So it took a couple of days, but yeah, I got the lesson I needed.
Yeah, and I recently read a story of a family. They even implemented the lessons learned at the dinner table. They ask, okay, what did you learn today, or what didn't go as you thought it would? So really learning about from failures, and even asking, what did you fail at today? How many times did you try? How many times did you fail? And
That's a
I
good
thought,
one.
oh, this is really cool. Like, we should do that with our kids.
Hmm.
Because I think our society is so focused on, just go straight, like go your success route. And
Hmm.
I think we are still not talking enough about how we can grow, and how we can use those lessons to grow and really to share that.
Yeah, that's a really
Yeah.
good one. Yeah, sitting down
Yeah.
at the table and asking, what was your failures today? What didn't go as expected? I love that.
Yeah. And also, you just mentioned with the messaging, and when, like in our branding, authentic branding bootcamp, and when we work one-on-one, I always tell my clients to don't get hung up on the message, because the message is actually developed in a dialogue with your clients.
Hmm.
And unless you go out and start sharing a message, the message that you think it is,
Yep.
you will never be able to make it better. And there is no perfect. So even as branding agencies, like, you hire other branding professionals to help you with this, because you are sitting in a jar, can't read your label.
Hmm.
And it's important, like, to go out and get the feedback. Same with the launching. So the launch messaging will be more clear after your first launch,
Absolutely.
and then you adapt the messaging, it will get more clear. And the same with the offer,
Hmm.
right? Because
Yep.
I think the next question is, where do I start? Offer, message. Like, if somebody like has not been, or has been thinking maybe about launching a course or a product or a membership, so where do you think should they start? Like, what would be a good first step? Like, should they think about their offer first, or should they do some, I don't know, research? Like, what are typical steps that people could do?
Yeah, I would say, if you can get started on the messaging, that's probably the best way to do it. But again, if that's getting in your way of actually doing a launch or getting something out there, then, let that go and just do the launch. Because like I said, launching is a lot about experimenting and testing things out. So you have to get that feedback, and then you actually need to put things out there. But I do believe that messaging is really strong foundation thing that you need to kind of work on, and get that feedback. So, but in terms of, where you should start looking into, the dialogue that you see people have in Facebook groups, because you don't even have to ask people. You just need to look at the conversation they're having, and you can pick up pieces everywhere of how they're speaking about, whatever it is that you do. And you can just kind of basically grab those snippets. And I think also, it's more sometimes, or a lot of times, you have actually been through the same process yourself, in terms of, you're probably selling something that you've been through yourself. So basically, if you take a moment, you are maybe your own avatar in a sense, instead of trying to, figure out, oh, who's my avatar? I need to figure that out. But take a look at yourself. You probably just been through it, and you just need to take a moment to actually look at your own journey to understand, what the journey of your ideal customer is.
Yeah. And you know what, when you just said that, look at yourself and what you have been through, that reminded me of passion and purpose. So what are you passionate about, and what do you feel is your purpose here in this life? And if you can marry that and create something something that is of value for people that need these services, I think this is the best thing to feel aligned energetically and
Mhm.
to be of service for others.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we don't get too hung up on what is it that your audience wants or needs, because if you try to create something that you don't like, that you don't love, then it doesn't matter what you create, because the energy that you bring to that table is going to be off and people are not going to actually buy it anyway. So it's better to kind of, yeah, look at yourself. What is it that I want to create? In a sense, and I know this is probably, a lot of people will think that, well, that's just sounds like bogus, but I still think that, we need to create something that we love, that we want to sell, that we want to scream off, the top of the roof. And because that brings, I mean, energy trumps pretty much anything if you really think about it. If you are
Mhm.
excited about something, people are just going to jump on board and be excited with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just quickly share a story. I interviewed someone yesterday for one of our clients, and this guy, I saw him on TikTok, and he did a live stream. And the day before, he published a video that, and he was so angry and frustrated. He developed a sleep trailer. He found a couple of years ago, he saw someone who was homeless, and he got so angry about the situation. He said, is this the best we can do? That are there
Hmm.
still people that need to sleep under a bridge? How can that be? So it took him 5 years. He took like his own savings, and he found someone to build a sleep trailer, basically a trailer with, I think, 8 or 10 compartments
Hmm.
where homeless people can find shelter overnight and sleep safely. And he thought, this is great. I show it on TikTok, and he did. And he said he got 60% of hate comments, like people, I don't know, they don't deserve it. And
Hmm.
he was so frustrated by this that he went live and he showed them what this all is about. And he said, you haters, you can keep on scrolling on TikTok while you sit on the toilet. I'm doing my thing. I believe people need this. And this video hit 2.2 million views. And overnight, everything changed. And I
Hmm.
think this was the energy and the commitment that he put up. He's in this moment, he didn't care
Hmm.
what the majority was thinking when he put out his videos earlier. He just wanted to help, and he said, I don't care, I put my message out. And suddenly he has requests from all over North America from people who are interested in this idea. So this
Exactly.
doesn't have anything to do with launching.
No,
Well,
but
no,
it's a good example.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's an example of trusting and just following your instinct and your gut.
Yeah. And I think you touched on a really important thing there as well, is that just let go of that fear of judgment, which he kind of did. He just wanted to, okay, you know what? If you hate me, I don't care. I'm still going to do this because this is what I want to do, instead of trying to, if he's listening to every haters out there, he will be like, okay, I'm not going to do this because nobody wants it. And he will forget about the other 40% who, well, maybe not 40%, but let's say it's 10% who's cheering him on. And then you have like the 30% who doesn't say anything, but they still love it.
Yeah. And, and when we think about launching or showing up and building our brand in general, this is all what it is about. Like this one person who needs to hear our message, who needs our course, our program,
Hmm.
our service. And if we can help those people or this one person, then others will come that are aligned with that. So I believe and I know that what you put out there, you will receive. So if you show up as truly as you are with your message that comes from your heart, no matter if it's a launch or your
Hmm.
brand or whatever it is, the right people will find you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
stop trying to be someone you're not, because that's not going to work.
No. Ken, do you have any like interesting stories to share of I don't know, funny stories of something that didn't go well, of something that really went well, of
Well, there's always the story about, not getting any sales with the launch, but I think we've all been there at some point. But one thing that actually happened during a webinar that I was doing is, so I was sitting there with the webinar, probably getting close to the end, I think. And all of a sudden, all of the electricity goes out in the whole block, and there's pitch black. I can't see anything. I don't have internet. And it's like, how do I get to tell people that I just lost the power? And I had no idea how to communicate that. So, I mean, I could have sent an email, but I don't know if people see it. And yeah, so I figured, okay, how can I get this back on again? And I figured, I have my phone, and you have, at the time it was 3G, and I could, get that to work through the computer. So kind of just connected that and got back online, and then I'm sitting there in pitch black with nothing but the light from the actual screen and finishing off the webinar. But there you go. That's something that could happen during a launch.
Yeah.
Well, you have to be quick and think on your feet, obviously, to get back on. But I mean, the other way could have been, that you would be, devastated and just not get back online and not finishing it and think that everything is just horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had once a similar situation where I was holding a webinar, and I think I was facilitating it, but I wasn't the host, so I couldn't log in. I don't know what happened, and then I had to switch computers, and we were already 5 minutes late. They had 900 people waiting in the wait room, and I wasn't there.
And you were the ones letting them in.
Oh my goodness, it was the worst. I was sweating, my adrenaline was like up like this, and then I managed to log in. I was holding the webinar, but I couldn't hear anyone. I had my phone with the with the person who was hosting it, and I was communicating through that, but it went really well. People signed up later on, but
there you go.
Yeah, we grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Ken, is there anything like, how can people work with you? Do you have a program coming up? Do you have something that you can share? How can people work with you? Can you share that?
I can share. First of all, I do have a free mini course, which is called Map Out Your Launch, and basically helps you map out your launch. And it will help you basically just know what to do, when to do it, and who needs to do what. So it will help you just create the launch calendar and plan out everything that you need. And obviously you need to still create the content of all of that, but at least it gives you a plan of action, and just knowing when things are happening is going to be so important. And that's a free mini course, 12 video lessons, easy to go through, just a few minutes each. Apart from that, I am going to do a founding launch of signature course, which is going to be a lot more on all of the aspects of launching, which is messaging, offer, plan, self-care. And it's going to be a lot focused on self-care, because I think that is something that's important and we don't talk too much about it. And that's coming up before 2022 is coming. Yeah. And besides that, you
Awesome.
can meet me on Instagram and Facebook and all that as well.
Yes, and I've put your social media handles up here and your website. So the free launch, the free mini course, can people access that through your website? Or
yeah, just go to kenwestgard.com and it will pop right up. That's the first thing they're going to meet.
Awesome. Ken, that was so valuable to talk with you today. Thank you very much. And for everyone listening today, please connect with Ken on Instagram, Facebook, download his mini course, and I will do that too, because I need to feel more energetically aligned and take care of my health, because I know that this is something I have not been doing in the past. And I think this is so important. Awesome. Thank you very much, Ken. And I'm looking forward to going through your course, and for everyone else to experience it as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.